Welcome to the Voice of International Standards Users, a podcast brought to you by IFAN. This is where leaders share how standards guide real decisions, influence global markets, and turn innovation into impact. I'm Chaim Oren, your host, and in each episode, I speak with leaders shaping industries through the standards in practice. I would like to start by sharing 3 facts about our distinguished guest today. He has been involved with standardization for over 30 years. He plays the electrical keyboard and is a music player in the ISO musical band. He is the father of 2 daughters, Sophie and Francesca, and he lives close to Milan in Italy, where the Olympic Winter Games are taking place. So it is a great honor to introduce Mr. Ruggero Lensi, Director General of UNI, the national standards body of Italy, and future ISO Vice President. Ruggero, welcome to IFAN Podcast.
Welcome to you. It's a pleasure, really.
Likewise. So let me start the podcast by asking you to look back and tell us, how did you personally first get involved in the standardization, and what was that attracted you to this field and convinced you that it was worth committing your career to?
Oh, yes, thank you. We are really looking very back. I, as you say, start about 30 years ago in standardization, and it was after my studying of civil engineering, and I was dealing with the civil and the building sector, which, as you know, it's a very important sector for standardization. And I was involved in an association of precast concrete here in Italy. And the main subject, the main strategy of the association was to participate to the drafting of European standards for the building sector. So I started, really, I was much younger. Obviously, I started as an expert in technical committees. And then I touched really the aim of standardization being working as an expert close to other experts and exchanging experiences and practices and finding solution altogether with this incredible value of standardization, which is consensus, building consensus, the ability to find solutions that can fit for every user was so great that I had an opportunity to jump from the expert to the secretariat of the technical committee, and then I started to work in UNI as a technical officer.
Wow, what an exciting beginning. So could you briefly explain your role at UNI and what will be your next responsibilities at ISO?
Oh, wow. We are really jumping 25 years after.
Exactly.
I was technical officer, and then I have been a technical director in UNI for 10 years. Then I deal with innovation. I was director of innovation. And at the end, since now 8 years, I'm the general director. So my role here is in UNI as a role of management of all the activities, of the processes, and to implement also the strategies from our governance, but also really like the brand, the awareness of standardization. I think it's very important to look what kind of image has UNI on the market. And last but not least, international relationship. This is something that I really enjoy. So to be part of the big community, the big family of standardization all around the world.
Wow, exciting. So from your dual perspective at national and international level, how important are standard users for ISO technical leadership?
Well, importance of standard user are the reason why we are doing all this, because, users are really the main stakeholder. our work, our business is not to produce standards. I've not finished my job when I put a new standard in the catalog. This is not the reason why. We are working because we want to provide solution to provide benefit to end users. This is really our very last objectives.
Right. So everything is focused on the standard users. That's the target audience. So right now, looking ahead, which ISO technical priorities do you think will affect standard users most directly over the next 3 to 5 years? So we're looking forward in the future.
Yes, I think that in the past we were listening to users, but in the meaning of having feedback from them in order to improve our capacity to draft standards. This was the reason why we were listening to the users. So the participation of users in our technical committee was very important in order to have better and better content. But now we need more and more in the future to listen to the user to understand how they implement the content in their business, in their processes. We would like to listen to the user to find new way to provide new services. So it's a dual relationship. From one side, to have input from them for new contents, and from other side, how to deliver this content.
Right. Very interesting. So you know that IFAN often says that standards deliver value when they are actually used. So how does UNI ensure that the real needs and constraints of standard users are reflected in standard developments? And may I add also, could you share one concrete example where feedback from Italian users led to a change in a standard or in a way that UNI operate?
Well, this question is really related of what we said before, because, we are very strong, I think also in Italy as UNI, in listening to the user for our continuous improvement of standards. So most of the experts of our technical committee at national level are also users. They can provide their expertise in many fields, but in the same time, they know about the content of standards, and they participate to this. It's a circle of really improvements. So from that side, we are, I think, pretty good. And we need more and more have interaction with user to have example, and we have some example of this, of how they are implementing in their own organizations. So there are examples where you get from user, for example, maybe they have developed internally a kind of digital tool, a kind of software, even if it could be something very simple, an Excel file that can be built on the content of the standards in order to introduce this little tool in their processes. So it's what we are doing, and we are looking to these even little solutions and say, well, we can do this for you. We can provide the standards with a little Excel file with the standards, and they have an example that they can use not only at their own level, but for every users. So this is what we are performing, thinking about software implementation based on content of standards.
So it's a continuous value enhancement of the process and the value of standards.
Yes, it's as I said before, we listen to user for this dual opportunity. Continuous improving of content of standards and continued improving of delivery solutions of standards.
Right. Okay. So as we know, IFAN recently published its Global Standards User Survey. And from your experience, particularly for SMEs that often, as we know, lack time and resources, what is the single biggest barrier to using standards today? And may I add, what type of support has the greatest impact in helping them overcome this barrier?
Oh, yes, the question of SMEs in standardization is really crucial.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that, for example, in Italy, we have excellences in SMEs. 95% of our companies are SMEs.
Wow.
It's an incredible market that needs standardization, need qualifications to standards. But I think your question was, what is the barrier, the biggest barrier? I think
The
it's a
biggest barrier,
question
yes.
of, yes, obviously, a standard is built for everybody, every kind of company, every dimension. Okay, this is what we state in our document. But then how it is company by company, different implementation of what is written. So
Right.
it is the interpretation of the content in the single business, which is very crucial, very important, because we need to help SMEs in this work of interpretation in order to help them to implement standard in their own business. And this is something that needs to customize content of which is generic in single cases. How can we do this? In the future, I think that this could be performed with artificial intelligence. So
AI,
we can,
yes.
yes, with AI, because we can put some tool between content and implementation. So I can ask to artificial intelligence, we have done some exercise on that. You can ask for artificial intelligence, you have, for example, a company, a small company of shoes, for example. No? So you have a standards, and how can I apply for my little company of shoes some standards, or which are the standards that are that can be helpful for my business? And so with artificial intelligence, you can develop solutions, you can develop some content, which is derived content from standards because of the kind of standard that can be useful for this kind of business. So we need really to put a bridge between standard content and implementation. And this interpretation, this way to read standards is absolutely crucial for the future.
So this is a very strong statement, Ruggero. You're saying that AI could become the mechanism to customize the content of the standard to the standard user.
Yeah, I think so. That can be,
Wow.
it could be a good way to use AI. Yes.
Wonderful. Moving on, you have shown interest in strengthening user engagement, including the idea of creating users groups in Italy. Based on what you have seen working well, what value do such users group bring, and how could they practically complement the work of a national standards body like UNI?
Well, it's related to what we said before, because we are, I think, strong in managing experts, and we have 100 years of managing expert in technical committees. So we have everything about technical committee and the argument and the expert and the company who's participated. That works very well. Then we provide standards to the market. We have a catalog with standards, and we have good relation with our client, with other customers. We have excellent database of who is buying standards. And then what happened after this? Very often, the people who are buying standards are not the people who are using standards.
I see.
Because in many companies, this is a commercial offices, it's not the laboratories, it's not the production, and so on.
Exactly.
It's not the testing. So we want to know exactly, but then this standard, where it goes in the company, who is using, what is printing it, it putting on the desk, in putting on a procedure. We need to know case users. And with case users, we can think with them about providing services, different level of services in relation of different type of business. So this is, I think, the added value, having a good relation with end user of standards to develop service that today means digital solution, because in our knowledge management, a service is to provide digital solution with technical content.
Right. Okay. We recently discussed standards education as a strategic priority in IFAN workshop in Milan. And IFAN has highlighted education and training as a key need for standard users. In your view, Ruggero, where should responsibility primarily lie? Universities, companies themselves, or standard bodies? And how can those actors work together in the best way?
Yes, first of all, I really want to thank IFAN, having considered to have the workshop in Milano. It was a pleasure to host you. It was a success.
Absolutely.
Yes, because also the content of the speech were really fantastic about education, about standardization. But we often think about education, about standardization at the school level, schools and university, for students,
Exactly,
for young. This is good. This is good because I am a civil engineer. And at that time, I don't think that today things have changed so much. We really did not have any idea of what standardization was. At university, nobody teach me about standards. And that was a pity, because standard is an asset. When then you go in companies, you work in the business, you give an added value by knowing standardization, content, and how to participate to standards. So I think this is a pity. But more than that, what we need for education about standardization, it's to go to professionals, to go into the companies, to let, even at the higher level, even at the level of decision makers in companies, at the level of the CEOs, not only technical people. We have lots of work to do there. There are many companies who really do not know about standardization, about the value, about the benefit of standardization. So we need to put together companies, university, and standards bodies to provide good services of education about standardization, not looking only to students and to young people, but also to look to professionals.
So increasing awareness for standards is a key strategic issue, in your opinion.
Yes, because standards are a strategic asset in companies.
Right. Okay. Well, digitalization, as you already mentioned, is reshaping the standard system. Where do you think standard bodies currently stand in their digital transformation, particularly when it comes to smart or machine-readable standards?
Well, this is an incredible development that we had. When I started 30 years ago in standardization, we were using paper. We were distributing paper.
Paper. Wow.
Yes, just really paper. I made copies of paper and sending by post paper. This was how we relate with customers, with users, with experts. Then we have this first level. It was about in the, I can say, in 2000s. We have this evolution using platforms distributing PDF. And we are using distributing PDF for 20 years, 25 years. But PDF is still a paper. It's just a digital paper that you don't send by post, you send by emails or platform. But it's still the same concept. Now it's fantastic what is happening because we are really taking out from standards the contents, the requirements, the formula, the tables, everything. And we can use the digital content. And this is what we are doing with the smart solutions. We are, I think, halfway that standards body have developed new way to distribution and deliverable based on smart. To complete this revolution is now how to deploy this digital content, how to implement solution, because that's open so many options, so many possibilities. So you remember that we were speaking about case studies before. No, we have now to deploy the digital content of standard in the different case studies. That means that we can really be so creative now, listening user and provide to them solution in order to have a better user of the content of standards.
Right. So this is a big revolution coming up.
Yes, it will really be the revolution after 100 years of standardization.
It's about time. So I will ask you to look to the future, Ruggero, and think about what is the single most important change that you would like to see in standardization system to better serve standard users.
The big change, it's the change in business models. It's the change to have the capacity to have a differentiation of activity, of service providing, and so on. So to target the more we can on the different users, that different markets. It's really the capacity to provide different products and services, because today most of the standards bodies have a catalog with hundreds, thousands of standards, but it's one solution for everybody.
And one size fits all, huh?
Yes, we think so, but it's not true. So we know that it's not true. And so we have to differentiate different size for different situation. And this is a change of our mindset in relation to the market. This is the most important change, I think, for the future.
Okay, well stated. So we're getting to the end of our exciting podcast. So for everyone who is listening to us today, what is the one single practical first step that they could take now to engage more effectively with standards or with UNI?
I think that the best approach to standardization for somebody who has been out of our reality since today, it's try to have a look of all the solutions that already exist.
Okay.
There are many companies that are spending a lot of time to implement, develop, create their own solution without thinking maybe there is a standard where I can find what I need. So what is important today for them is go to the UNI catalog and look how you can qualify your business. How can you qualify your production? Maybe a standard for your product already exists, a standard for your service already exists, or maybe a standard to how organize your company for your processes, or even for the skills of the competence of your people. So have a look, try to map everything that exists and think about how to implement to get benefit from this incredible knowledge that we can provide to the companies, but to the society in general. So first, I think practical step, it's go to see what exists,
Already,
look,
yeah.
and enjoy.
Oh, excellent conclusion to this podcast. So I would really like to thank you, Ruggero, for your insights, perspective, and vision. It was a real pleasure of speaking to you, and I would like to wish you lots of success in achieving all of your goals. And for our listeners, stay tuned for more exciting episodes and follow us on IFAN LinkedIn page. See you soon.